here this evening. We know that the class of 2020 are overachievers just by the number of parents that are here. So give yourself a round of applause. If this is your first child embarking into the senior year, I'm sure you're just like me. I have two of them, and you're saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe this day is actually here. And before you know it, you will be getting ready for graduation just like the graduating class of 2019. You'll also be experiencing senioritis at about the same time, if you are not already. Know that you're embarking into a really important year for the seniors. The counselors will talk just a little bit tonight, and you will hear this from them a lot about resiliency in students and also making sure they're doing it on their own. If they are in the second semester of their senior year and you're still forcing them to do homework and making sure everything gets turned in, the odds on them making it in college are not very good because you're not going to be living in the dorm room with them. We will help them along the way. We would like them to stumble while they're with us so that we can help pick them up and you're still there to support them. There are other avenues within school. We want to make sure that we are producing productive citizens when they leave here. Not everybody has to go to a four-year university. There are branch campuses, there are employment opportunities. The modern manufacturers are screaming for employers, and they have some amazing opportunities that those employers are reaching out to us to have students come visit them, and they will pay for their schooling while they're working. So we will educate those students as they get there. Tonight is all about you getting involved in senior year. They may say they don't want you around, but all the different things we provide for the seniors is a pretty neat thing to really send them off with a bang. You have a lot of handouts that they'll go over tonight. One big item that you can get into your calendars is graduation. Graduation for the class of 2020 is May 17th at 9 a.m. It is a Sunday. You say, why in the world would you have graduation at 9 a.m. on a Sunday? Is because we do our graduation at the SJHS Center. With schools going earlier and getting out earlier because of testing, all the graduations get backed up. SJHS usually does about 30 graduations a year, and they try to do them all within about a 2-week span. When school ends, it also is the same time when Xavier ends their school. So graduation for us plus about 15 other schools falls on the same weekend. Xavier graduates on a Saturday. That's the only graduation they will have on Saturday. 4 schools are allowed to have graduation on a Sunday. There were 15 schools that wanted to have it on Sunday. We were lucky enough to have a good relationship with SJHS, and they allowed us to have the first slot. So visiting family have time to travel home. If you want to have a party on Sunday, you can still have that. A school that I used to be affiliated with, and we had the best time slot there, shifted to 7 p.m. on a Sunday. Our other choices were 2 p.m. on Friday or 7 p.m. on Monday night. We thought Sunday morning at 9 a.m. was best for families. We used to do it here at Sycamore where they were on Thursday nights. Parents didn't like that. They asked us to shift it back to the weekends. So that's the reason we have that. There will be a lot of information that comes your way, and the counselors will talk about that. But if you really want to know who runs the school and gets everything done, that's Ashwin Corteil, our Dean of Students. And he really oversees the soon-to-be senior class. He is really the glue of the school. He's a great relationship guy and a great communicator, and he'll go through some details about the senior class. We really want your student to finish high school with a bang. Being productive, being proud of themselves, know what resiliency is, know what challenges are, so they know they're ready when they leave us. And together, we can do that. If you go back 3 years ago, sitting in the gym on academic fair, we told you, we are a relationship school. We don't always do it right because we're a people business. And when you're in a people business, sometimes you get it wrong. But we will admit when we're wrong and we'll try to do better the next time. But our job is to challenge students, and we try to challenge them every single day. And we want to communicate with you. And we have an open door. We want to communicate. If you need some advice on a student that isn't holding up their end of the bargain, you have a team here that's willing to help you. So now the man that knows everything about the school, Mr. Cortino.
I can tell you a timeshare too, I guess, if that's part of the thing that I want to say in the intro. Yeah. Hi, I'm Ashwin Portiel. I am the Dean of Students, and I'm going to be co-administering the senior class with Mr. Mader. So I've been working with this freshman class, the current seniors since they were freshmen, or I guess the incoming seniors, your students. And I've just seen such a tremendous growth in your students, and it's been really, really inspiring. So I've met a lot of you guys just throughout the course of open houses and academic fairs and conferences, and even those who are new to the district, I probably led your tour or had hooked your student up with a shadowing day to visit. So it's just been a real blessing to see this class mature. So I'm excited about this coming year, and it's an awesome team. Rhonda and Ken are going to just do a tremendous job as the PTO reps for the senior class. So you guys are blessed to have them, and we're blessed to have you. So I just wanted to talk you through just for a couple minutes of your purple packet. They're going to hit a couple of these dates more specifically, but just so you know what's in here, if you turn to the second page, it's got like an Excel spreadsheet of dates. Just know that those dates, just like every school year you've been a part of, they're firm until they're not. So they're pretty close to being where we want them to be. But just know they might wiggle around here or there. Just keep an eye out for the email communication and the phone calls you get from us. We'll do our best to communicate with you, as Doug was saying. That's just sort of a rundown of some of the highlights. There's going to be stuff that comes up throughout the course of the year. And for seniors, it's always like on the fly. We always think about, here's some great stuff we can do for them. We try to communicate it with you, and hopefully it works out with the calendar. The first one, and probably the main one that you'll need to know for right now, is that the seniors report to school one day before the sophomores and juniors report to school. So the freshmen come in on August 14th, that's like a new student day, and the seniors join them for part of that day. And part of the reason for that is we want to give seniors the opportunity to be leaders and show themselves to the youngest students in the school as being representatives of the school and people who can really usher them around and kind of bring them into the fold. Because the freshmen are new and some of them are completely new to the district. So they want to know, like, how do you do things right? Like, how do you learn about the school from the people who've been here the longest? So that's why we invite them on the 14th of August. So that'll be the first day of school for your seniors. It's one day before the first day of the school year for the rest of the high school. Okay, so just so you know that. You'll have a parent meeting in early August right after that, and they'll go through a lot more specifically what the dates are coming up. But just so you know, at the tail end of the summer, that's the first, August 14th is going to be your first kind of benchmark point for the senior class. If you flip it over on the back, this is the total back of the packet. You will see three sections there. The top is yearbook stuff. Alex Frost, she's our teacher for the yearbook class, and she runs the journalism program. She's got a ton of enthusiasm and a lot of knowledge, and typically they will set all of those yearbook dates, like baby pictures and ads and everything, once we get into the middle part of August, maybe the early part of August. So that's why those are more just non-specific kind of general guidelines on when you should expect that. But those are the types of things you'll be seeing. If you have not had a senior here, those will be the types of things you're seeing about yearbooks coming up as that top section. The next part is the senior slideshow. I don't want to steal the PTO thunder about that, but you'll definitely be seeing more information about the senior slideshow. They do an awesome job because they try to get every single student in at least one picture in the slideshow. And that, for the current senior class, takes place in a couple weeks. And even the kids that say they hate Sycamore and they're ready to go to college, they love the slideshow. And there's a lot of non-dry eyes in the house from people who are like, I'm ready to go, but they kind of said they don't want to admit it to you. The senior slideshow is great. So you'll be hearing some more information about that. And in the very bottom part that says graduate services with a list of dates, John Pruitt is our representative from Graduate Services, and that is a top-notch graduate services company. And they do caps and gowns, they do rings, they do invitations for parties, they do flyers, they do postcards you can mail to your family and friends. That company will be in touch with us very, very regularly throughout the course of the year. And we've worked with them for the entire time that our administrative team has been here, and even before in various capacities, and they are on it. They work with 75 schools, but they're just thorough about every single one. They will tell you which kids that you know the kid, and you didn't even remember that kid didn't order his cap and gown, but they'll tell you, hey, this guy's the best cap and gown. So they're great, they're thorough. They'll have a couple meetings that we're not even really a part of, that they just invite you all to. So I encourage you to participate in those if you can. So that's just a rundown of what is in your packet. One note that the school nurse, Jen Ferris, did want me to bring up at this meeting was that probably most of your students may not have or have not sent her the documentation of a meningitis vaccine, and they need one round of that. As they're going in, okay, so one round of it if you have not had it, or a booster if you have had it. And some communication was sent home about that. So I would either check that communication or maybe communicate with Jen Ferris. And that's F-E-R-R-I-S. And the first name's Jen with a J, and she's great about writing back to email. So if you have a question about where your student is on the meningitis vaccine, please feel free to contact her and she'll be happy to help you out with that. Any questions right now at this point? Okay, so I'm not really important, but the real important people that are going to get you guys through, it's just more important as we go on. You get more important people, and then Ann Delahanty Koenig is the head of our counseling department, and she is also one of the counselors who is going to be working with your senior class. She will have all of the seniors' last names L through Z. That's right. Okay. And Brian Sweeney, also awesome counselor. I've been working with him for many years as well, and he will have the seniors who have the last name A through K. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
Oh, more important. Oh, counseling department usually doesn't get many rounds of applause, so that was nice. More important sounds like more work. So if that's what it means, Mr. Portillo, we're going to pass it back to you. Thanks for coming tonight. It got really sunny and nice out, and I was thinking to myself, a lot of people are going to change their mind about coming to this meeting tonight as the weather got nicer, but I mean, this is a good showing. Typical also of our student assemblies in here, where the middle's typically wide open, the front's completely empty, and then you guys who want to leave if it's not real good back there, that's usually the full section, so you didn't disappoint. Mr. Sweeney and I are in charge of your students as they kind of finish up junior year and enter into senior year and start the college application process. And then some of them will like to challenge your nerves and ours as well during senior year as they sometimes make silly decisions, sometimes after they get their college acceptances, they don't really like to do a whole lot here anymore because they're so over high school. And we'll help you and help them kind of complete that journey. Right now, Mr. Sweeney and I are meeting with all of the juniors in small groups. So we're doing it every day through, with the exception of this Thursday, every day through next Tuesday. And we're doing it in Aviator Bell, but we're combining lunch and Aviator Bell, so we have a good chunk of time. We needed more time than just the 25 or 30 minutes of an Aviator Bell. So Mr. Mader was nice enough to find some pizza money in the budget, and we are feeding them their lunch, so they're coming straight to us. They don't go to the cafeteria, and we have lunch for them, and we let them eat, and then we do a longer presentation than we would normally be able to do. So some of you came in, and this is going to cause just a mild panic right now, but I can guarantee you it's going to be okay. Those of you who were early, you didn't get one of these, which is basically the printout of the presentation that we are doing with them right now in Aviator Bell, but it will be on the table on the way out. Those of you who already got one, no fair grabbing extras, because we probably, well, we'll have enough, so don't panic. But the presentation that we're giving them right now encourages them to, A, finish the junior year strong. They have 3 weeks left plus exams, and the GPA that they finish junior year with is the GPA that they will be applying to college with. Because their applications go out in the fall of senior year, their transcript that gets sent to the college includes their grades and classes from 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, their senior year schedule, but no grades yet for senior year. The next time the grades are recalculated after the end of this year is in January of their senior year after the first semester. And then after that, it's at the end of the school year. So grades are only recalculated at the end of each semester. So we continue to remind them of that, which we've been reminding them and talking to them about since they were freshmen. And then we talk to them about if they still need ACT and SATs to finish up, and when our suggested last testing date is in the fall for application deadlines, which is typically, we want them to have those finished in September or October at the latest. Some of the early deadlines for like Ohio State and UC and other schools, the latest they can take those is typically in September. So we want them to have that finished by then. But in this packet, it gives you all the dates, as well as some special notes about each one of those dates. So ACTs, SATs, we kind of go through all of that. We also encourage them to, this is a biggie. It seems kind of trivial in a way, but we encourage them to really start getting on top of their Sycamore Gmail account. We communicate so much through their email, and they don't read them. I'm guilty of that with my personal non-school email as well. It's just so much from so many places, just this inundation with information. But we really, any encouragement that you can give them to make sure they're checking their emails. We also are going to be using the Remind app, and in this packet, we give them the information, and you can do it as well if you want in our secret little club. But we will actually send text with important information like ACT deadlines, or the rep from University of Dayton will be here on Friday, have you signed up yet? Or make sure you're checking this or checking that, whatever. It's real easy. You just text a code, our classroom code, and our classroom is the class of 2020, but there's a code in this packet. And we encourage all of them to get on that. We know they check their texts way more than we want them to. So we figure if we can kind of get in front of them a little bit that way, that will be helpful. For all of us slightly older people, we do have a Facebook account at AVES Counselors. They don't use Facebook, but we know that you do. So we have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and they're all at AVES Counselors. Many of you are already connected to those. We try not to send out junk or things that are unnecessary, but things that we think you will find interesting, and also important updates and things that are just happening with the school in general. So Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at AVES Counselors. Mrs. Brenner is in charge of all those social media platforms as well as our newsletter. And she does a fantastic job. So if you're not plugged in, or if you're not reading the newsletter that comes every 2 weeks, or on any of those platforms, you're missing out, you really are. So we talk to them about all those things and communicating. We encourage them to create a new email address just for the college application process. So when they start filling out their applications and their common application, if they get a new Gmail address, it will just help them sort through that information instead of cluttery inboxes with all kinds of stuff that for the reason that they don't check their email. So if they have a fresh one just for the college process, it's really helpful. We also talk to them about looking at the essay prompts for the Common Application. We have put a stack of papers out there that have the 7 essay prompts for the 2019-2020 Common App. There's 7, they have to choose one. Most of your sons and daughters who are applying to college will complete the common application. It's one application for 800 colleges and universities. And most of the schools that our kids apply to, especially all the big ones in Ohio and private ones, the Ivy Leagues, the very selective schools, use the common application. Not every college does. And it's kind of a one-stop shop. You put in, it's tedious, you kind of get it set up, and then you can send your application wherever you want. We talked to them about that today. We gave them those essay prompts. They're working on their essay prompt. They're working on their college application essays in English classes from now until the end of the year. So they should have a good start. We asked them to have those finished by the end of the summer. Like 4 of them will. And everyone else will be like, yeah, I remember when you said that. That would have been super helpful. I would have had that done now, and probably my parents wouldn't constantly be right here. And they're like, yeah. So a lot of those tips. We also, just a couple other things. We go through the whole Common App with them. We encourage them to get all their information in their Overgrad account. But here's the deal. On that first day back that Mr. Cortiel was talking about, when the seniors and freshmen are here, almost half of that day for your upcoming seniors are with us. And we're going over that application process with them again, because we know right now they're kind of like listening, but it's the end of the year, they're tired, there's tests, it doesn't feel real yet. And so we meet with them on that very first day. So that's the 14th. On the 19th, so August 19th at 6:30 p.m., get excited, because we have that same meeting with you guys that we have with them on the 14th. We have it with you guys on the 19th at 6:30 right here. And we put up the exact slideshow presentation that we give your kids. We show it to you, so you know exactly what we've said to them. And we will take your questions and answers and hopefully help you feel calmer about the process. The one you won't feel so calm about is the one on financial aid and filling out the FAFSA, but that comes a little bit later in the fall, and we don't give that one. So we're the friendly, nice counselors, and we don't handle some of that other stuff. Just kidding. But August 19th, 6:30, and right here. And if there's anything that we could beg you to do, is to come to that. And also snag all of your friends who have kids that will also be seniors, because the more people that we get to hear that presentation, the less confusion and stress there is as the school year goes on. And one last thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sweeney, and he's going to be like, thank you, good night, you've said it all. One thing that we talked to them about in the presentation today, and we will again in the fall, is to talk to their parents about the college application process and just about their plans in general. And if it's not college, we have a lot of conversations about that as well. But because most of our kids are going to be immersed in this process, we really ask them to talk to you and to open up, and we really ask you to be honest with them about what they can do and what they can't do, and what you at least hope they won't do in terms of the colleges that they apply to, where they apply. It's great to say you can go anywhere you want to go. And sometimes they get into those schools, and they're $68,000 a year. And then it's a lot harder on the back end to say, we didn't really mean it. We were just kidding. We want you to go to UC or Ohio State or somewhere that's not a new house. So if you can put those fences and boundaries around some of those conversations now, it will make their life, your life, and our life just a lot more candid and authentic, I guess, as they go through this process. And we told them, as they're generating their list of schools, and they're narrowing it down to those 3 or 4 or 5 or 8 schools that they're going to apply to, that they're safety schools, meaning the schools they know that they can get in and that they will like and that are good for what they want to do. And they know they meet the credentials to get in. That's their plan A. That's their plan A. Those reach schools, those dream schools, that's plan B and C and D, and it's nice, but their plan A needs to be the solid one. The schools that they can get into, not the ones that they're hoping for, and then everything else is plan B or plan C. So we tell them that the college admissions process it's emotional, it's exciting, it's scary, it's fun, it's awful, it's all of those things, and that they have to remember this. They're about to embark on a process where complete strangers are making decisions without ever talking to them for the most part, ever meeting them, ever seeing them in person. And these strangers are making decisions on them that impact the rest of their life. And we say, are you ever supposed to trust a stranger? You're not. So keep things in perspective. Your self-worth, who you are, what you are, is not where you go. It's still always going to be what you do, how much you put into it, how hard you work, and your growth mindset. How willing are you to learn new things and meet new people? So those are the kind of things that we're telling them. And it's great to partner with you as we all kind of coach them through this process. If you have questions, we're available. I'm a lot easier to communicate with via email, and sometimes that's even a little tough because we're in meetings, we're running around all the time. But you can set appointments with us. I will send you a link to my calendar. Mr. Sweeney will do the same. But we'll meet again in August, and it'll be okay. And we'll help you get through it if you help us get through it. So we're loving these meetings that we're having right now with your kids. They're super engaged, almost, always. After the pizza sets in for about a half hour, we kind of start to lose them a little bit, but they come back for us. So I'm gonna let Mr. Sweeney say hi now, but thanks for coming on a sunny night.
Yeah, Mrs. DK is awesome. So we have a lot of fun working together. I don't have much to add because you pretty much took everything, but that's all right. No, I will say also that another piece of communication is our website. We do update that. It's not a dinosaur. We look at that every month. We're continuously updating that, so a lot of scholarship information is going to be on there. That's a big question that's going to come up once the applications start going out. How do I pay for it? Scholarship, financial aid. There's a ton of information on there. You can go on there right now and look. There's a whole 11th grade, junior year guide, as well as senior guide. Basically everything that we talk to students about, we want to make sure that that information is backed up somewhere. So we're telling them, because we know they're not getting on our website looking at it, but it is an option. So besides Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the newsletter, we have our website, the Remind app. I mean, if there's something that's not being communicated, it's our fault. But I mean, there's no way that you can miss something. So pick whatever option you like and go with that. The other thing I'll say is just please be patient and be kind to Mrs. DK and I. So the reason I say this is that this is the first year. This year we're finishing our first year with grade level counselors. So next year is going to be the first year, I don't know, maybe in a long, long time that Sycamore counselors have had, just 2 counselors have the whole senior class. So that's a lot of applications, it's a lot of recommendation letters, it's a lot of just stuff. So please communicate with us, call us, email us, set up meetings, we're happy to do that. Just be patient with us, because basically from August through November, December is going to be crazy for us. One thing that we did do is we sent a survey out to all the juniors this week to help us learn more about them, because I know some of my students, this is the first year I've had them, so we're trying to build those relationships in time for application season, but that survey is for them to fill out to give us some more information about them for those recommendation letters. We will absolutely do our best to continue to have more conversations with them, get to know them better. We kind of put that on them as well. Come see us, come have conversations with us. Let's talk about what your thoughts about your future are, and get to know you a little bit more. So looking forward to it. The class of 2020, we're excited.
Perfect vision.
There we go. All right, I'm turning it back over to Mr. Corteel. Thank you, everybody.
I hope you have picked up that we all definitely feel like the four of us are pretty approachable and pretty just straight shooting with you. So we'll try to be as responsive and receptive to your guys' thoughts and concerns throughout this year as we can. So we're going to communicate as much as possible. The trade-off is, here's your part. When you know what the senior prank is going to be, please communicate back to us. Okay? If your kids are talking about it with their friends, if any of our cars are involved, please tell me, okay? I would love to know that. So for the last part of this meeting, which is really the meat of the order here, I just want to introduce Rhonda Augustin and Kenna Walquist. They're going to be your PTO senior moms. They are phenomenal. They've set stuff up. They did this whole packet. They did the agenda. They set up the meeting. Rhonda's done it before too, and she just was so super psyched to do it again, and she couldn't stop, wait to get back here. But we are indebted to them. We look around at each other and we're here at 7:30 and we're getting paid, and they're just doing it because they want to do it, and we appreciate it. So let's give a round of applause to Rhonda.
Good evening. I'm Rhonda Augustine,
Kind of walk this.
and we are your Senior Parent 2020 co-chairs. So there are a lot of activities, as you might have seen on the Excel spreadsheet. Some of those activities are sponsored by our administration. Some are sponsored by the PTO in general, like Odd Couples, After Prom, and all those types of things. But many things that make our seniors have a fantastic year come about because of the things that we do, and I mean all of us. So you'll see some of those activities on there, and in order for that to happen, we need a couple of things. We need help, and I have been fortunate enough, Kenna and I, to strong arm or cajole or whatever you want to say, or people have just stepped up to help already. So you'll see that on this first page. Some of those events that we do need help for. So we've got co-chairs and chairs for some of those. We always need help. So even if there is a co-chair, we need some help. Many hands make light work. The second thing we need, and you may not know this, but all of these activities are self-funded. We do not receive any money from the school, from the PTO in general. This comes strictly from your donations. In the past, that amount has been about $40. We will accept anything you're willing to give. A little bit less, a little bit more. We understand that some of you may have, I don't know, 30 triplets or whatever, but I understand that it's an expensive year, so anything you can give would be appreciated. Checks can be written to SHS PTO, and then turned in with this form, hopefully, with some check marks to help. Now, your kids may say, I don't want you, Mom and Dad, anywhere near these activities with my friends my senior year. They're lying. Okay, so they may not want you breathing down your back, but there are many things you can do kind of behind the scenes. One thing in particular is our senior slideshow. That happens on the day that they do, I think it's graduation practice, that we have a picnic, a field day, a cookout, that kind of thing, and they do that. The slideshow is played for them. This slideshow, we hope to have a picture of every single senior. Now, let me qualify that, and you'll see those in this back page of your packet. There are some requests. So we don't do individual shots of students, so we need a group. So the lacrosse team after a thing, the pasta party for the cross country, the band doing something awesome on the field during the competition season, anything like that. Please send those, and we've got our email here. It's AVES20, I think that's right, on the front page. Senior AVES20 at Gmail. Kenna and I will both check that. We also have a Facebook page, and we've got a whopping, I think, 50-something members. So please find us on Facebook and invite all your friends, because I can't invite everybody unless I'm friends with you, and I'm not friends with everyone on Facebook. But please, we will post things there as well. And as Mr. Portillo said, we want to put everything out on the website. So this packet, the donation form, the calendar, anything we can think of, or video recording tonight, all that will be out on the Facebook, or I'm sorry, on the school website. If you go under the high school, you go under think it's PTO. And then on the left-hand column, there are many things there, including senior class. And you click on that and there'll be lots of information. So please contact us with any questions, anything that comes up. Ken, let me see. I feel like Anne. No? Okay, so thank you so much for coming, Ken, and I will be back in the back, ready to take your donation and your volunteer form if you're ready for that. If not, think on it, and just let us know how you might be willing to help. Thank you so much for coming. It's appreciated. Have a nice night.